There are two passages in the New Testament that use mammonas. The most famous is part of the Sermon on the Mount from Matthew chapter 6 verse 24, in which Jesus asserts, "No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon." A similar, longer passage is found in Luke chapter 16 verses 9 to 13, in which Jesus explains and tells us that we cannot serve God and mammon, as both are opposites. In both these gospel passages, the term is associated with unrighteousness and represents something that is at odds with service to God. Given that both passages are contextualized within a discussion of one's treasures in heaven, the word is usually understood as the acquisition of material wealth or the idolatry of material riches. To identify a true man of God, we should look at his attitude towards money. The more he has greed for money and goes on a drive to accumulate it, you should not have any doubt about the God whom he is serving. He will use his God as a tool to transfer that money which is in your pocket to his pocket. Before we continue further, please subscribe to the channel if you have not yet done that. Now you might be wondering why I am telling all these things. Aren't there enough and more of money-minded preachers in Christianity? What has that got to do with Islam or Muhammad? Well, I have news for you. This principle applies globally to all circumstances. Let me explain further. When you are deprived of your rightful money by falling into a deceptive trap of some scamster, it is called a financial fraud. When the same method is applied on many people and many of them fall into the same trap, it is called a scam. Scammers use various techniques to gain the trust of their victims and convince them to hand over money, personal information, or access to their accounts. Scams can take many forms, including email phishing, fake online stores, Ponzi schemes, and investment fraud, among others. And the daring ones go a step further and rob people using a mafia gang. They often use psychological tactics to manipulate their victims, such as creating a sense of urgency, making unrealistic promises, or impersonating a trusted authority figure or organization. One of the most fertile grounds for scammers is the avenue of religion. Scamming people in the name of God has been used by many religious leaders to further their malicious agenda. The Prophet of Islam was a master scammer. He had a two-pronged approach to grab money from people. He used the mafia approach with non-Muslims to extort their money, whereas he used the deceptive trickster approach to pilfer money from his followers. Let us discuss how he extorted money from non-Muslims by way of the mafia extortion. I hope you know what is meant by protection money charged by a mafia leader. This is the definition of protection money as per Collins Dictionary. As an example, read the usage. Money demanded by gangsters for freedom from molestation, or he pays $200 a week protection money. A businessman who refused to pay protection money was shot 9 times. The people who demand protection money threatens with damage of life and property to those who refuse to be intimidated. This is exactly how Muhammad did with the Jews and Christians of Arabia if they did not join his religion. Let us go to Surah 9 verse 29 to see how he pushed a mafia verse within Quran. It's speaking concerning the people of the scriptures, which are the Jews and Christians. He asks his followers to start the fight with them because they do not believe in his religion. Fight those who do not believe in Allah and the last day, nor comply with what Allah and his messenger have forbidden, nor embrace the religion of truth from among those who were given the scripture, until they pay the tax, willingly submitting, fully humbled. Notice how he is calling this protection money as tax. Tax for what? For not accepting and submitting to your religion. And what is he threatening us with? Fighting. I hope you understand that it's not an intellectual debate or any such things. It's about physically fighting and killing them with swords and machetes. Isn't it quite amusing that Allah has no issue with the so-called wrong ways of Jews and Christians if they pay money to him? Really, all that Allah needs is some money from us if we reject him and his prophet. Nice deal. Even more interesting point is to watch the greed of the Prophet of Islam when they go and attack the Jews and Christians. Muhammad was so selfish that he does not even want to share the booty with his robber gang. He wanted it all for himself. Read this verse from Surat Al-Anfal verse 1. He is telling his followers that 100% of the booty belongs to Allah and Muhammad, and the others are expected to just obey him and do the duty. No counter questions are tolerated. Let me read it for you. They ask thee, O Muhammad, of the spoils of war. Say, the spoils of war belong to Allah and the Messenger, so keep your duty to Allah, and adjust the matter of your difference, and obey Allah and His Messenger, if ye are true believers. Did you again notice the twist at the end of the verse? He is classifying those who do not obey Him as false believers. The psychological game is on. But we know that his manipulation of his followers to grab the entire amount failed. He was forced to relent and reconcile for a lesser portion of the booty. We can see that in the same chapter verse 41 where the new formula is being delivered. What kind of God changes his rules when people rebel and protest? Watch this and know how Muhammad was forced to eat the humble pie and had to be satisfied by 20% of the booty. If extorting money from non-Muslims was his primary source of income, he also ensured a constant stream of passive income inflow. The warlord Muhammad made sure that his followers continued to remain in the dark and gave their own money to his welfare. So let us check some verses from the Quran which will help us understand the mentality of the Prophet of Islam. Check this verse from Surah 58 verse 12 where Muhammad is charging private consultation fees from his followers. Let me read it for you. O believers, when you consult the messenger privately, give something in charity before your consultation. That is better and purer for you. But if you lack the means, then Allah is truly all-forgiving, most merciful. Notice the way he is twisting the terminology and calling it charity just as how he called the protection money as tax. And if they are too poor to give him any money, Allah is all-forgiving. Forgiving for what? For keeping the person poor while enriching the Prophet of Islam, really? Who will tell the Prophet of Islam that charging consultation fees is pure business just as any supermarket selling their wares and charging them money? This story does not end here. Muhammad even goes a step further by begging for Allah and enrolling people to his Ponzi scheme. He wants free money. People who want free money do so in the name of God. He is again wording it as charity, but the truth is that the money must come to his pocket. In Surat al-Baqarah verse 245, he says, Who is it that will lend unto Allah a goodly loan, so that he may give it increase manifold? Allah straiteneth and enlargeth, unto him ye will return. This inconvenient truth about the Prophet of Islam may not ring any bell with Muslims as they have been sold out to be the mental slaves to Muhammad. However, people who have not left their critical thinking can understand the kind of financial fraud that Muhammad was. We end this episode with a promise to come back with more interesting videos. Smash the like button and do leave your valuable comments. Till then, may the Lord bless you and keep you.